Hello and welcome to this edition of EB-5 Investment Report. I'm Amy Rios, and today we will be discussing the state of California's recent decision to officially join Riverside County in full support of the EB-5 visa program. The Riverside County Office of Foreign Trade is part of the County Economic Development Agency and is the official agency and representative body for international trade, development, and EB-5 foreign investments within the County of Riverside. The Office of Foreign Trade assists business owners, corporate officers, investors, and entrepreneurs with exporting and importing and EB-5 foreign investments with the objective of creating new jobs and investments within the county. The OFT serves as a link to investors from other nations interested in establishing business relationships in the County of Riverside. Joining me today is Tom Freeman, the Commissioner of Foreign Trade. He was appointed to manage the day-to-day operations of the Office of Foreign Trade and serves as a county and agency representative to departments of the United States government involved in international trade and commerce. Welcome, Tom. Can you explain the EB-5 investment visa program?
Yes, Amy, thanks for letting us be here today. And let me give you a little background. The EB-5 program has been around for many, many years through different administrations in Washington, D.C. It has really come to the forefront of importance in supporting our local businesses because banks, following the Dodd-Frank legislation in Washington, D.C., have been required to clamp down on lending. It's harder for a business to get a loan. In fact, only 17 in 100 businesses that applied for a small business loan last year received them. So you can see we have a huge problem in getting capital infusions into our local businesses. So in Riverside County, our Board of Supervisors decided 3 years ago to identify means of increasing capital investment into the county, bringing money in to support our businesses. And you can go out today and you can physically touch and see the impacts of EB-5 visa investor money.
Now, can you tell me about some of the successful businesses that have been created through EB-5?
Oh yes, we have a number of successes. Let's look at our medical facility in the city of Murrieta that is now opened by our EB-5 Regional Center. There are about 75 full-time medical professional jobs. None of those jobs pay less than $40,000 a year. They have more jobs than they're required to have under the system. So when we look at that, we go, okay, huge annual payroll, huge property tax addition to the tax rolls, huge payments to the state for state taxes on income, huge federal payments. These EB-5 investor centers bring that to this county, and anywhere they're at, they bring good things.
So can you tell me how the decision by the state, what does that mean for Riverside County and its EB-5 efforts?
Well, the decision by the state of California was actually sponsored by Riverside County. We wanted to see this state get engaged formally and officially in the EB-5 process. As in any program, the state has no experience in this area. They have a brand new team. They're relatively understaffed. For a statewide agency to say that they are going to be the EB-5 centers and the epicenter and the supporter and know that they have a staff of only 13 people is probably a stretch. It's taken the county, with the assistance of some very able businessmen and some very able and successful EB-5 centers, to learn about this. There's no college or university we can go to that says, I want to major in the EB-5 program. This is going through the school of hard knocks. You learn as you go.
So is Riverside County actually teaching the state of California something here?
Well, without saying it that way, we asked the state to introduce the program. We saw it as a success. We asked California State Assemblyman V. Manuel Perez to introduce the legislation. They did so. All right, the legislation was passed. I was asked by the Board of Supervisors to go to Sacramento and testify in both the Assembly and the Senate for this bill, which we did. Now, in its infinite wisdom, the state does things a little differently. Already, I'd say that they're off to a rough start, because what the state has tried to do and what the Board of Supervisors has stayed away from is constricting and constraining investors or those that operate the center. I believe that the state will come to the reality that these centers are absolutely mission essential if we're going to get California's economy going. What the state needs to do is learn how the program operates, work with the people who operate the EB-5 centers, support the growth of EB-5 centers, support the investment, and I believe they're going to come to that conclusion once they figure out how the EB-5 system works and learn its nuances. This is a great thing. We're going to work with the EB-5 center operators. We're going to follow the letter of the law, but we're going to make California business friendly. And if we're going to do that, we've got to help these EB-5 centers thrive, and we've got to help them continue to attract overseas investment. We want the Chinese, we want the Vietnamese, we want the Koreans. We certainly want our friends, the Canadians, people from Mexico, Central and South America, Europe, to come here, invest here, have an investor stake here, and want to see us succeed in creating jobs.
Can you explain the role that regional centers play in the EB-5 program?
Absolutely. There's two tracks on EB-5 immigration. Track A would be you as a private citizen of, let's use Croatia, seeking to immigrate, and you have a $500,000 investment that you want to put into a Riverside County owned business. You can go to an immigration attorney. He or she can handle that matter for you. They typically will charge you between $7,000 and $15,000 to make that transaction. You make a single investment here in Altec Media Group. It does create the 10 jobs. It keeps the 10 jobs for the period of time specified under the law. Later on, you can become a permanent resident and even pursue citizenship. That's track A. Track B, which for us has more appeal, is the EB-5 Visa Center. Why does that have more appeal? Because it takes your $500,000 investment and combines it with other people. And you can go in and buy an existing building just like the one we're shooting this program in, and you get credit for the jobs that are already in the building. It's more flexible because some of the EB-5 investors going through track A, as I described earlier, may not find the company that's sound or worthy that they're willing to invest in, and they're looking for another alternative. The EB-5 Visa Center is what really stands out for us. Again, most people want to get here and put the $500,000 in, create the 10 jobs or more, and get the visa, be able to stay here, and by the way, they'd like a return on their investment. And some companies that I haven't personally had any dealings with them, but there have been some that haven't lived up to that. And there have been other EB-5 centers that have created bad names for all the good operators. That is the minority.
Now, what about in September when legislation comes about the regional center pilot programs? Are you optimistic that that program is going to be granted an extension, if not permanence?
Well, as in all good things that come from Washington, there are always reauthorization bills. And inside a reauthorization bill are always pleasant surprises and some not so pleasant. So we'll have to wait and see what the entire bill looks like. We are on record at the County of Riverside, and we've been very aggressive in working with our congressional delegation and Senators Boxer and Feinstein, our Congressman Ken Calvert, our new congressman, which is going to be Duncan Hunter, and also Jerry Lewis, Mary Bono Mack, and Darrell Issa, and let them know that we're in support of this. We've also talked to the chairman of that committee, who is Representative Gary Miller. Face-to-face meetings, we're on record as supporting the reauthorization, so we'll have to wait and see.
What are some of the targeted industries, and how does it benefit investors to invest in these areas?
We focus on manufacturing. Manufacturing in Riverside County is a huge, huge employer. And those that export products are also important. We know that our manufacturers who export pay wages about 10 to 11% higher than those non-exporting clients. So we want our international investors to invest in firms that create jobs. If I'm trying to be intelligent about my investment, get a higher rate of return, then I want to go to companies, facilities, projects that are going to return a higher rate of investment. and that offer security. All of these things must be checked by the individual investor. Even though I would like to be able to steer you as an investor to a certain EB-5 visa center, I cannot do so. You must do your homework.
Can you tell me what some of the major issues facing the EB-5 program and the regional centers are in Riverside County?
I would say that the most important thing right now is to find businesses that are looking for loans, that are looking for investors, and that those businesses be safe investments for the EB-5 visa centers and their clients.
Thank you so much, Tom. After 3 years of hard work, EB-5 centers in Riverside County have already raised over $2 billion in investments from international investors. These funds play a key part in securing financing for local business owners. State support of the EB-5 program is critical to our economic recovery. If you would like to learn more about the EB-5 Visa Investor Program and Riverside County, simply click on the icon to the right. I'm your host, Amy Rios, and I want to thank you for joining us for this edition of EB-5 Investment Report.